Blue Protocol. The game we have all been waiting for over 2 or 3 years now is finally here. The launch is almost upon us, and not only for the Japanese launch, but also for the official global launch. After the Game Awards on December 8th, we had an exciting announcement for Blue Protocol, as we will be getting the game globally in 2023. And I know that has been around for a little bit now throughout the month of December here, but guys, we're just starting into 2023, and I am so excited that we finally know when Blue Protocol is going to be announced and coming for not only the global version, but also for the Japanese version of the game as well. Today, on the other hand, we are going to approach things a little differently than I normally do with update videos. Instead of updating everyone like I normally do, we're going to have a discussion on recent updates and chat about all the memories we've had in the past playing the closed beta test in preparation for Japan's final closed beta test in 2023. So, let's jump into some nostalgia, talk about some new updates, and prepare for Japan's launch. Now let's start off the video with an extremely happy note. I am going to be participating in the upcoming closed beta test for 2023 in Japan. Now, full disclosure, I was super sad and, not going to lie, a tad jealous that I wasn't going to play alongside the friends that I have made over the last couple of years and fellow players that I've met while playing this game, especially the community as a whole. If I am being truly honest, this last application for Japan's closed beta test has been the most difficult to get into, or at least how I feel about that. I almost felt like there wasn't any keys available. Someone reached out to me very recently and gave me their account because their friend was unable to play during the network test times. Now, there's a much bigger story to this, and a very honorable one at that. So I would like to give a shout out to Hayake and his friend for giving me this opportunity. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. While I am streaming, I will also be taking requests from his friend, potentially, if they are available, to show them around and in the updated world in my live stream as well. I can't thank the both of them enough for giving me this chance to play the game once again before Japan's launch. So, if you'd like to follow me and experience Blue Protocol in high quality stream fashion, don't forget to check out my channel and social media. I will be posting not only pictures, videos, of course, and having all these live streaming things going on from YouTube and Twitch. Now, I haven't fully decided on whether I'm going to be on YouTube or Twitch just yet, but we'll see. I'll announce it to you guys, and whether it be on this video, if I haven't announced it already, then I'll go from there. But anyway, guys, just letting you know that I will be live streaming it as well. Also, guys, of course, you don't have to like the video. You can dislike the video, or you can like the video. But if you want to help out my YouTube channel and support me further, slapping a like on this video would help with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel to find out more awesome things and watch me further on Blue Protocol, slapping that subscribe button and ringing the notification bell to know when my next video goes live is the best way to go if you want to see more of my content going further. One last thing I will say, though, is there is a high possibility that everyone from overseas that made it into the beta may lose their access to Blue Protocol. It's a high possibility. The same goes for me as well. If that is the case, I will let everyone know. But until then, I have no plans to log into my account until the official day of the closed beta test. It was a high risk with the previous 2 closed beta tests, and it still stands now. So just keep that in mind. Regardless, I will do my best to provide updated footage for the game. Now, without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Now, just to quickly go over the previous developer update, there was swimming. They talked about swimming, on how you could go into the water, unlike the first closed beta test, and second, of course. You were locked in the second one into the Astralead's main city, but you were able to go out into the world, see the story and all that jazz, in the first closed beta test, which was pretty awesome. This third one here is a lot more updated, so many more features and things to the game. Swimming, of course, involved, and it's not fixed speed. You can actually use your sprint on the shift key or whatever controller that you have to be able to sprint further in the water. So kind of like Final Fantasy 14, where you use sprint to go through the waves or go through the water much quicker. You can also do fishing, which is like most games you can do fishing, and this kind of reminds me, at least the fishing like in Final Fantasy 15, how you obtain a fish while you're trying to look for some more materials. Zone player count. So in the city, for like the Astrolades and Salamazar Oasis, you have up to 200 people that can be in per channel. In the field, it's up to 30 people. Dungeons, Arena, and the Towers are up to 6 players for dungeons for the most part. Rating is now up to 30 people. That is insane. It kind of reminds me a little bit of World of Warcraft. Now, I don't really play World of Warcraft myself, but there's a lot of games that have a lot of player count for rating, and things like World of Warcraft. Maybe Elder Scrolls Online might be another thing to mention for like maybe more on the PvP side of things. But as for like Final Fantasy 14, we have 72 for Alliance raids, but at the same time for actual raiding in Blue Protocol, it's 30 people. In the first closed beta test and the second one, it was only 20 people max. Now they've brought it up to 30 people. So let's break for here right for a second. It just makes me wonder if the game is actually going to have a lot heavier mechanics for these raid bosses. And it just makes me question, how intense are these raids going to be for players? Is it going to be something that's so intense that you have to strategize with 30 people in your voice chat or whatever it needs to be able to take down this boss properly? Do you need to have like a certain amount, like 10 blast archers, 10 spellcasters, and whatever else you wanted to choose for like twin striker and all the other classes that are available to us right now? Is it possible that we need to split up our classes properly in order to take down a boss? Now that would be pretty intense. Now for the first 2 closed beta tests, the boss felt very lackluster. It's like you were like just attacking a boss down to try and get his HP down. Now mind you, some people did die, of course, in that boss, and he was just jumping around, dashing around the arena how he felt like it, and it was kind of like it left us a little bit empty, basically. So for 30 people to be in a raid, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think a 30-player raid is going to be a lot more intense and a lot more involved? I hope so, because if that is the case, I'm very excited to be able to like prepare with a guild, like 30 people, go into a raid and tackle a boss every week or so, or whatever it is. And I don't know if there's going to be a weekly cap like in Final Fantasy 14 and other games where there's a weekly cap on receiving a reward from those raids or whatever it may be, but that would be pretty cool. I would love to see that in Blue Protocol. Moving forward, the last dungeon is time attack mode. So if you think of like Mario Kart with your ghost characters racing against time to try and get the highest score and see yourself on the leaderboards, yeah, that's basically the same idea. But with this being a dungeon, you go through the exact same dungeons that you've been through before, but as a solo player, and you have to try and defeat all the enemies as a solo player and get to the end of the dungeon and see what your best time is. Pretty simple, right? But you can also see your other character for your best time or your ghost in the same dungeon, which is pretty cool. Moving on, we have camping, which is, if for the lack of a better term, I found a new recipe, like you would see in Final Fantasy 15. But for the lack of a better term, you can, of course, go here for a resting area. You can recover your health. You can see a gourmet chef, which has 3 different colors, blue, green, and red. So for I don't know if this is for sure, like I haven't really dived deep with the information on the gourmet chefs, but they're right by these campsites or fairly close. And you can see a blue, green, and red guy, and it depends on which location it's from because you can see 3 different colors, and it's not always the same for each camp zone. So if you say blue, I would assume that's a defense buff. For green, I assume that's a healing regen buff. For red, I assume that's a damage up buff if you were to accept the gourmet chef's food, basically. So that's kind of where I was going off with Final Fantasy 15's I found a new recipe. So for the lack of a better term, that's where I'm kind of going with that. But anyway, you can get buffs from these gourmet chefs, which is pretty cool. So, and also another thing to note is that enemies will not attack you in these safe zones for camping. Another thing to note is that you can teleport to these camp zones, which is pretty sweet. Now, what's really awesome is that not only can you teleport, you can get some food, you can rest up and recover your character from any damage that you've received while in the field. It's just pretty cool that it's a safe zone. So if you ever had aggro or anything on you and you were going towards these safe zones, the enemies would automatically boot it and go away from the camp zone because it's an automatic safe zone. The enemy automatically de-aggros from you and you're safe in this area, which is pretty awesome. Now, Happy Napo. The next thing here is this is going to replace the Fog of War for discovering the map and unlocking the map, basically. Now, I'm not sure if it's the same concept where you find a Happy Napo and it unlocks the map, or Happy Napo is just there for a achievement, for like a Easter egg hunt, basically, for finding these Happy Napos, this character, all throughout the field, and once you find all of them, you receive an achievement. The same goes with the previous during the closed beta test of this Fog of War. Fog of War has been replaced with Happy Napo, but with Fog of War, you were unlocking the map from the cloudy area. You weren't able to see the entire map until you found all of these waypoints throughout the map in the closed beta test. Now, Fog of War is completely eliminated, and I'm not 100% on this, but if you can find all of these Happy Napos, if it's the same concept for unlocking the visual for the map or not, I'm not 100% sure. You can receive, of course, a special achievement for finding all Happy Napos, like I mentioned before. And one thing that I do question about this little Easter egg hunt thing here is if the Fog of War will eventually return in the near future, and potentially we will see possibly flying installed with the Fog of War waypoints like we saw in the closed beta test. I feel like devs like to reuse their content, especially if they've scrapped something. So it makes me wonder if the Fog of War will come back in the near future and it will become something related to flying for characters with mounts that we have now. So it makes me wonder if that will be a thing in the future, and most games do eventually lead to flying in their games, so it wouldn't surprise me. Now, one little small thing to add is that when you are in the main cities, you can see these animals that are all throughout the city. The cat, the dog, I can't remember what else. There's this other character that they mentioned in the past. I can't remember what its name is right off the bat. But he's in the actual zone, and you can actually go up to him with his floppy little ears or whatnot, and you can go and say hi to him and see him as well and interact with these characters or these animals that are all throughout the main cities, which is pretty cool. It's fun seeing those little interactions, and if you're ever on stream or if you're ever just hanging out with friends and you just go and say hi to the animals, or you're just having a bad day and you just want to go and see the animals, that's a pretty fun little thing to see. The next thing is photo mode. So straight up, it's exactly the same as Final Fantasy XIV, where you can freeze all your characters and party members in place, take a picture with them alongside them. For example, you complete a raid or something like that, like in Final Fantasy XIV, and then you go and snap that perfect screenshot of your raid team. Can you imagine 30 people together lining up for a screenshot, coordinating something like that? And of course, taking all of those people and trying to freeze them individually. That would be funny, but regardless, you can take photos with your friends. And I love that they do have a photo mode. It is an important piece for history. And of course, taking pictures with and alongside your friends or guildmates. It is a great addition, and I love it. Moving on, we're going to talk about this equipment that has been added to the game called plug equipment. This is a new feature that will replace infusing our imagines into weapons. Previously, it was known as echoes. Instead, we are infusing plugs as our weapons into our weapons and imagines. So in order to transfer a plug into a weapon or imagine, so if you had like an existing one, then you must purchase a ticket in order to transfer it. Now, don't get me wrong, you do not need the ticket initially to place a plug into a weapon or imagine. This is only if you plan on taking out an existing one from a weapon or Imagine. Now, I just wanted to make that clear because that can get very mixed up. If the weapon has never had a plug on it before, you can install it with having to purchase a ticket, with real money, of course. This will enhance your character's overall stats or powers. This feature becomes a rarity from 1 to 5 stars, granting you special skills and stats based on its rarity. To obtain a plug, you must clear missions, events, adventure board, or in-game raids. Plugs will not be purchasable through the shop. So, of course, you can't abuse something like that. It's not a pay-to-win game. Only the tickets will be able to transfer from one weapon to another. So, if you had an existing plug infused, you needed a ticket to remove it and move it into another weapon. I suggest everyone chooses wisely before they start to infuse plugs into their weapons or Imagines, especially if it was an important rare weapon that you got from like a raid or a crafted weapon or something like that. Now, let's talk about guilds. This is a major social feature for anyone in any MMO. Now, mind you, it's an online action RPG, but of course, there's so many features into this game, I'm basically considering it an MMO. Setting you with the rest of your team apart from the rest. Being part of a guild, unless you're a solo player, of course, is an important part of any online action or MMO game. For me, I am super happy that this game has a guild feature, allowing you to chat with a group of friends or guildmates. As players continue to play the game, they raise their guild rank, and that in turn will allow you to invite more people into your guild. Sounds a lot like Final Fantasy XIV. And as a side note, I haven't decided if I want to join a guild yet or create one. I might be looking into more guilds on the more competitive side, but with some social aspects to it as well. I haven't really decided just yet, but we'll see. Anywhere from basically mid-core to hardcore environment and how I like to play, especially from Final Fantasy XIV, if anything has to say about it. I like to share a video if I haven't already in the background. You may see me playing Ultimate, for example. I really enjoy playing the endgame content and going for those harder raids. So that is something that's very important to me, and trying to get like that flashy weapon, or to say like I've achieved this kind of thing, especially like me as a healer, for example. I enjoy playing as a healer, and that's why I love Blast Archer so much, is that it has those little healing capabilities that make me feel like I can challenge myself that much more as a healer. So that's kind of a little bit of a background on me and how I like to play, and that's just one of the many things that I love about playing MMOs. I like to challenge myself, set goals for myself. And those are one of the many things that I enjoy about playing games like Final Fantasy XIV. And the same will go for Blue Protocol if it comes to where I want to set my standards. But anyway, moving on. There's another system that is called the Elemental Burst System. Now, we saw a little tidbit of this in the very first few closed beta tests, but it goes more in depth from the updated information. Now, just like we discovered in the first closed beta test files 2 years ago, elemental effects like fire, ice, thunder, earth, light, and darkness will all be part of the game. Now, if you're a spellcaster, for example, this would make the most sense overall. To make it simple, you can charge up your attacks to level 3 as a spellcaster, and like other classes as well. The bigger the charge, the more you're able to stack that element on an enemy from level 1 through 3 elements. Fire produces dot damage over time. Ice, slow effects. Thunder is paralysis with an RNG chance of affecting an enemy. Earth, taking increased damage output. Light deals reduced damage to players and enemies. Darkness is blinding effect, which could cause enemies attack to miss. If you're in burst upon reaching level 3 or higher, this will cause an even greater effect to enemies and players. Yes, you heard me. Enemies go into burst as well on players, and you could get damaged with all of these elements as well. Thank you to the database for breaking this down for all of the ailments. This is a very important page, and it's very important for players to know about this specifically. Another quick couple of features to talk about is Reward System Plus. This will help players on the more casual side of things receive items useful on their journey. You have up to 10 tickets in total that you can carry, and even receive from them for free via different events in the world. They come as not only a daily ticket for players upon logging into the game, you can also receive these tickets with real money. But of course, the shop will be limited for these tickets and not appear as often, so it can't be abused. There is a quick party system. As we know, there is, of course, inviting players and all that jazz. With the quick party system, it allows you to connect with players in your area during doing the same quest, for example, as well as the party options we already know through recruitment in the menus and inviting your friends. Now, this is probably one of my most favorite game modes that I want to talk about next, is the Unbroken Tower. This is similar to the Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, and the new Crystal Tower version that is about to come out on Final Fantasy XIV. A tower in which you team up with 6 players to fight waves of enemies. You will see boss battles, receive items, and be able to challenge yourself as you get further and further in the towers. There are conditions you must meet to clear each floor. Don't worry though, there are a rest station every so often throughout the floors, sometimes giving players buffs in between for the next set of floors. I am very excited to see what is on the top floor once you reach the very top. I don't know if it just keeps on going or not. I haven't looked too far into this tower, but they did end it abruptly, and it makes me wonder if the challenge does get to like some kind of big raid boss at the very end of the floors. So I'm very curious about where this will go and if we can participate that in the closed beta test. I'm not 100% sure, but if it is there, I'm definitely going to check it out. This is a very touchy subject for a lot of people, especially when it's a free-to-play game. Whenever I look at this, I always think of this as optional, unless it's like some other Korean MMOs where it becomes pay-to-play, unfortunately. Which is probably every player's biggest fear when it comes to, as we are all very much aware, Blue Protocol is free-to-play, but of course includes monetization options such as Season Pass, Regnus Store, which is the cash shop, a little bit of gacha options, of course, Rose Orb Store, BP Point Store, and finally the Seasonal Store. The Rose Orb Store is what contains the premium currency portion of the game used to purchase items and services for Blue Protocol. Everything else is not connected to it. So BP Point Store and Seasonal Store is not connected to the Rose Orb Store. On screen, I will cover what is purchasable. So on screen, you'll see all the various things that could be purchasable in the game. Plug equipment slots, experience up buffs, reward plus tickets, lunar buffs, season pass, and more. You can also purchase a name change, which of course has a cooldown on it. The last thing to talk about is of course the season pass. I was going to talk about the season pass in more detail, but it's pretty straightforward. You can receive items up to a certain level. For example, one will last up to level 50 or 60, and another season pass will go up to level 100 for both free and premium season pass versions. There is a medium tier called Advanced Pass, looking like a red book, and a premium tier which looks like a gold book, known as the Royal Pass. The premium version includes everything from all the other versions as well, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, while you're receiving a version of the pass, you're also receiving what's called season points, which you can build up and use on the cash shop to purchase items. Now, while that was a quick breakdown of the most recent developer update, there is so much more to discover with Blue Protocol. For now, though, let's dive into some memories that we've had so far with Blue Protocol's closed beta tests coming up to this point. All right, guys, so I know I said I was going to start talking about memories and my experiences with the previous closed beta tests. However, I unfortunately have to start to end the video at this point in time. Otherwise, I'd be going on for like 40 minutes of this entire video, and I do not want that. I tried to make this video as short as possible, and I'm sorry that it's so long already, past the normal 10 minutes that I would like to normally keep it at, but especially with longer videos and detailed update videos like this, especially with the information that we had to present to you guys, sometimes videos take a little bit longer with getting this kind of information out there quick and clean. But guys, long story short, and I wanted to update you guys too, is that now I do have a backup account in case one of my accounts do get flagged. And as a content creator, you usually have to do that anyway, just in case something does happen. And I have done that in the past with previous closed beta tests, just so that in case I do get flagged and get removed from the closed beta test on one account, I still have another, so that I can show you guys the content, record the footage, and get the game footage out to you guys and to the community, and share my experience and share the videos to you guys. So long story short, guys, I hope you all enjoy. And if both accounts do not get flagged, then I will go and share and do a giveaway for one of the accounts. And that's the last thing that I really wanted to share about that, is that if I do have an extra account, I will do a giveaway during my live stream, and I will share it with one lucky winner if I do have an extra account still available. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video, and I hope it was quick and clean for you guys to be able to easily understand, and it got the point across for each and every one of you guys. I just wanted to say I absolutely love the community. I absolutely love being able to share my passions with you guys about Blue Protocol. And one last final thing is that I'm super excited to see you all in the closed beta test alongside me, for those that are not only joining me, but also for the viewers that are going to be alongside me for the live stream if we don't get banned. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video for part 2 of this, where I share my memories and the announcement of my live stream. All right, see you guys all in the next one. Robo out.